What is going on, my For Honor brothers and sisters? So we have Testing Grounds that's approaching starting September 14th through September 21st, and we have the Highlander that will be gracing us with his presence. So what I want to talk about, and I'm doing things a little bit differently here, I'm going to go over each change and we're going to break it down, and whether I like the change, whether I think it's crap, I'm just going to say a few brief words about it, but I'm going to mostly let the main man JC do most of the talking because he's going to be explaining exactly what the change is. But I'm just going to give my little 2 cents on what my thoughts are on each change, or I would say most of the changes. So I'll be curious to hear if you guys agree with me, if you disagree, if you like all of the changes to Highlander, and what you're looking forward to the most. Just know that this is not the final version of Highlander. You know, this is just testing grounds. You're going to have to give your feedback, and hopefully you guys jump in and do. We need you guys out there providing that feedback, so that way the devs can get it right, like they're trying to do with Lawbringer. So let's go ahead and get into it.
So we focused on not really removing much. Actually, I think there's one thing that's been removed. Everything else is, if you played Highlander before, you can play Highlander now, except you have better tools. So let's get started. Okay, so first up, the very, very biggest change we've done, and I think people should be psyched about this, is that whenever you feint an attack now, every single time you feint an attack, if you hold the heavy button, you will fast flow into offensive stance, right?
Yes.
So how does this work?
I love this because I'm all about hero versatility. And whenever a hero has other means to get into their different stances or different attacks, or in Highlander's case, offensive form and defensive form, going back and forth between that, I'm a fan. I'm all for it. And it's another way that you can keep your opponent guessing. You always want to keep your opponent guessing because the more you play the game, of course, the better you are at really figuring out the other heroes and how to counterattack them. So this is just going to give them more versatility. So I'm a fan of this. Thumbs up. What do you guys think? You guys like it? How can you not like it? Let's just go with that. How can you not like this?
It works off of every single feint that you can perform with Highlander.
Every feint.
Every single feint is backstep lights. Right now, on live, if you do this, you backstep quite a bit. You can kind of option select a lot of attacks. We don't like that. It's not a good thing. So what we've done is that the version, like when you backstep a little bit less. So it kind of removes that option. Like if you're really close, right, and I'm backstepping, I still hit my opponent.
This also gets a thumbs up from me because they're giving him other tools and other ways to get into his offensive stance. So they need to put some danger in that backstep light. So I like the fact that they're doing that. This is a good change, solid change here. What do you guys think?
The other thing we've done is a crushing counter version. So if you want to throw me a top heavy, it now deals 18 damage instead of 20. So again, we've lowered the damage curve a little bit here because again, that was a bit too strong. So that kind of works out. The other thing we've done in defensive stance is, defensive form rather, is the chain lights no longer have an uninterruptible stance. This is a health issue, right? Players could just mash this, have armor quite often
For days.
Yeah, and it was like it's a bit too strong. So removing it there makes a lot of sense. We've also adjusted the speed of Highlander's heavy openers.
As far as these three things, the crushing counter 18 damage instead of 20 damage, removing armor from chain lights, I like that as well, and the top heavy off of Guardbreak. All of those are good changes. The crushing counter is a good change because 18 damage, even though it's down from 20, is still better than just a regular light. Removing the armor from the chain lights, that needed to happen. And gosh dang, I am so happy you can actually get a freaking heavy off of a Guardbreak.
And I get a free heavy off of a side heavy now that are
Get Shrek'd.
That's another thing that was so painful with Highlander, was that you could not get any heavy punishes off a light parry. You would have to go into offensive form and then throw out the unblockable. So I really like that now if you get a freaking light parry, you can actually get a heavy, and it's a side heavy like a lot of heroes can do already. So that's another good change that they're making. Testing grounds for Highlander is looking very solid right now. What do you guys think?
Next we have zone attack from offensive form. So first up, first hit is feintable. You couldn't feint it before, now you can.
Oh, dip.
It's great. Right?
That's huge.
Because now you can also, you want to know what we're talking about? Feinting, feint into offensive.
Oh.
Do it a bit quicker there, but yeah.
Now I look at this as a good, not great utility. I do believe it's great as far as clearing minions, and of course if you're in mid or also if you have a lot of people around you. But I wonder, can you target swap? Like, can you go from after your first one, then you go target swap to someone else, and then target swap to somebody else? Because you imagine that when Highlander's just swinging that freaking heavy, and of course he has that uninterruptible stance. That is a nice advantage if that's the case, because he can just tank it, and then with that sweeping freaking swing.
It's not necessarily faster, but you can now chain to heavy finish.
Oh, did.
That also
Yeah, I
armor,
was way off.
right?
I was
You
way
were way.
I was
off.
distracted by the flash.
Yeah, but that's okay. Because now the other cool thing is that the heavy finishers also chain into zone attack. So if you want to be a cool spinner, you can now go zone, do heavy, zone.
All right, so
Heavy.
the age of man is over. The age of the thigh copter is here.
Exactly.
Now that zone to heavy chain, that looks nice in this, but that's not going to be practical. I don't think that's going to be practical at all. It's not going to be practical for stamina reasons, and also players, it's the same cadence. When it's zone to heavy, it's the same cadence. It's not like a Magi heavy or something like that.
The last chains that we're adding is the top, like the front dodge heavy. The top version of it can now be feinted, which it couldn't before.
I always wondered why that was never feintable to begin with. Why did you have to go offensive stance? So this is a very welcome change. I'm definitely going to be thumbs up in this, because I want this to stay. I want this to make it in the game as well.
Now we have offensive form, right? So the main issue with offensive form is kick, because kick right now is not necessarily like, it's not fast, it's not super slow either, but it kind of works. The problem is that it's reactable, and then if I'm playing against, say, a Highlander here, right, and I'm gonna do kick into keyboard toss, it kind of works. The idea is that the way that mix-up was intended was I'm gonna do kick into keyboard toss and catch dodge attacks. Or catch people dodging, actually. But because everybody has dodge attacks right now, like if you can try to dodge attack it when I do it,
Yeah, you just
clearly it's not gonna work. Right? So how do we fix this? Well, kick is now. Sorry, kick is now feintable. Uh-oh. Not only is it feintable, but if you're holding, because you're currently holding heavy, right? So holding heavy, you stay in offensive stance, which is great because I can also throw my offensive heavies, feint them, stay in offensive stance.
I cannot wait to go back and read chat.
This is like amazing there. The other thing that we've also done is all of his side dodge, all of his dodge attacks actually in offensive stance are now keyboard toss, which is also a little bit faster.
Now you Highlander mains, I really need you here. I really need your input, because I'm curious. Now I like the feintable kick. You know, that's full stop. I like the feintable kick. I want it to stay. But how beneficial is that for like when an Orochi does his little side dodge light? You know what I mean? Or he does his side dodge attack. How is that going to help you if you stay in offensive form? You're not going to have time to crush and counter if you stay in offensive form, right?
The other thing that's interesting here is that if Will kind of rolls away from my feintable kick, good, kick and just roll away from it, I can front dodge and grab it, right? So there is now no escaping the kick.
Now, I think this is excellent. Don't get me wrong. I think this is excellent. But for some reason, I feel like they catch me anyway when I try to go roll away. But it looked like with this, the person was actually rolling, and he still was able to get him with the caber toss. So that's solid. That's solid. I'm a fan of that. But I've been having issues trying to get away from Highlanders doing that for a minute, you know, but I don't do a lot of double dodging away. I might single dodge or something like that. So maybe that's part of my own problem, my own issues. But I like it, man. These changes, like I said, utility. Give me utility. I'm all about that.
Also, like for the heavies in offensive stance, we've lowered their damage and their stamina cost. So now
all right, now this is my first L, in my opinion, and it's a small one. But my thing is, Highlander always hits like a tank. I don't want his damage nerfed. Anytime I take a hit from Highlander, I feel like it's taking half my health. So I'm okay if it was 28 damage, but let the stamina also be higher for you trying to let it off. Also,
there's some changes we've done to like dodges. I'm not gonna go too much into it. We have a blog post that kind of details all of those things. Essentially, like you can flow back into the offensive stance a little bit quicker from what you're doing, and you also move a little bit further out when you're dodging from when you're on live. That's good.
He overall just looks a lot.
Just the last thing that I want to go into. So we've removed every single instance of stamina damage and stamina pause, like what we've done with stuff. Again, like it doesn't really fit anything here. Like I said before, when we were talking, it's the same kind of logic there. You can also no longer. So right now, if you're on live, right, if you're in offensive form and you hold Guardbreak, you can just do kick.
Oh right,
kick,
it'll just
infinite,
change.
right?
Change.
So now we've kind of fixed this, so you have to tap it, and then if you're just holding it, it's not just gonna happen. Right?
Nice. So you're not gonna
Is
get
that
caught on the startup of the next one.
Exactly. And so this might look a bit weird, like why did we remove this? It's just because it can create like bad inputs.
Did that animation look kind of strange to y'all, or you guys think that was good? It was okay. Maybe it was just really
Also,
quick.
the other thing is that like exiting offensive stance used the cost of stamina. Now it costs 6. So again, better stamina management for Highlander. Great overall. And then the final piece of this cute little puzzle is Highlander had the worst walking and running speed in the entire game, even though, you know, he's like a big beefy guy with a lot of big thighs. So right now, we've actually sped it up to be equal to the second slowest thing, which I think is Kensei. So he runs at about the same speed as Kensei, actually. So with this, you can actually rotate through your rotation a lot better, reach points in a much more natural way.
Because before Highlander.
I don't know about y'all, but I personally wish they would make Kensei and Highlander a little faster. And I say Kensei and Highlander since they bump Highlander up to Kensei level, because good lord, when I'm running with Kensei, I feel like I'm taking about 7 minutes to get to a point. It just seems like it takes so long, you know. But then when you're running side by side, you know, with your teammates at the beginning of a match, it doesn't seem that bad. But the further they get ahead, you realize, yeah, you slow. But what do you guys think of these changes? And like I mentioned, they're not permanent. I hope a lot of them are. But which ones are you guys looking at and saying, I hope these definitely don't make it in the game. I hope these do. What do you guys think of the ones that I thumbs up? And what do you think of the one that I thumbs down? I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. I'm not a Highlander main, I'm a Nobu main. So it is different. It's a hybrid, but definitely different. Highlander is one of the most intricate heroes in the game, and that's why I like him. But overall, I'm just curious what you guys think. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you're looking forward to testing grounds. You'll be testing Highlander out. If you haven't tried him, make sure you guys jump in there and give him a shot. I know even if it's your first time being him, this is a good time to try it. Just go ahead and try him out and see if you like it. If anything feels clunky, if anything feels weird, your feedback's required also. But I appreciate all my For Honor brothers and sisters for coming in and checking this out. We can test out Highlander together starting next week. Until next time, y'all, peace.